Rabbi, Erev Tov. Question comes up like this, that if a person needs to go to a doctor, and the doctor happens to be of the opposite gender. So he's a man, the doctor is a woman, or the doctor is a woman and he's a man, whatever, the other way around, whatever it may be. The question is, are you allowed to have physical contact, with the doctor when he examines you, all kinds of things like this? This is the question, So the truth is that it's not really so pashut at all, this question at all. It's quite a difficult question, because why? There's a machloket between the Rambam and the Ramban. Right? The Rambam holds that touching a woman who's forbidden to you, who's called erva to you, she's erva, it's isur deoraita. Right? It's from the Torah, the prohibition. So it says, right, the davar erva lo tikrav, don't come close to any erva. That's what it says in the Torah. So it says the Rambam, this also includes touching erva. That you're not allowed to touch the erva as well. Getting close to them by touching. It doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be some intercourse or anything like that. Even without that, there's still a problem, So says the Rambam, this is Yisur D'Oraita. So therefore, says the Rambam, right, brings the Bet Yosef also down, this whole thing, and says the Bet Yosef, this means that what? Let's say, for instance, the husband, right, is a doctor, Ekimia, Tamari, and the wife is, she's Nida, his wife is Nida. So what happens is like this, right, that now she got sick, so he has to examine her by, taking her pulse, with a stethoscope, taking her heartbeat, all kinds of things like this, So the question is he allowed to do this or not, So according to the Rambam, says the Bet Yosef, this is not allowed to do. Why? Because the husband, has attraction to the wife. She's Nida, he's a doctor, but he shouldn't be touching her. This is the whole thing, So therefore, he says this, you should get another doctor to come, and do this. The husband shouldn't do it, even though he's a doctor. This is what the Bet Yosef says. So according to this, there's lichora a big problem with this regarding this. But the truth is, that there's also the other opinion, which is the Ramban. The Ramban holds that the prohibition of touching a woman who's erva to you, a single woman, is only isur d'Rabbanan. It's only from the rabbis. So therefore, it's not so severe like the Rambam says. But the truth is, the Achronim, Maran Ravadia and Rav Moshe Feinstein, you look in the Achronim, they seem to be, they're choshesh, they're concerned also for the opinion of the Rambam as well. They consider it to be like a, very valid and very halachic. So therefore, right, they say, according to Rambam, this is going to be a problem. Comes Rav Moshe Feinstein, he makes a chidush regarding this. So he says like this, that if a person is going to a doctor, okay, and he's touching people over there, opposite gender, right? Or let's say similar, if a person, let's say, goes on a subway, right? Many of us go to Manhattan, to work over there, and we take the subway. So this is what happens, right? So the question is, how can you go on the subway when it's so crowded in the morning? You're like, sardines, you know what sardines are, right? You become a sardine over there. They make you into a sardine. Might as well have fish and scales on your body, right? So you're packing up like this, and you're touching the women there. That's what's happening. The men are touching the women. The women are touching the men because they're packed up like sardines. So how can you go to the subway? That's what Moshe Feinstein regarding these things. Can you imagine? What do you say about that?
That's different. Maybe
why? No.
Because you have to go make money.
I have to make money.
Short way.
So you're allowed to do Averah to make money?
No, but you're not going to do Averah. You're not going to do Averah. You just go home.
Well, according to what we said, right? The Rambam says it's Averah to touch the woman. So how do we do it?
What's
right, so God bless you. That's the question. That's the question. Now you got to the point. What's the halakha, right? What's the halakha? So says Moshe Feinstein something very interesting. He says that in this case, there's no problem in cases like this. Why? Even according to the Rambam. Why is that? Because the Rambam, when he says you're not allowed to touch your wife when she's a nidah, let's say, even if you're a doctor, because the reason is because there's chibah there, there's derech chibah. The husband and wife, they love each other, so there's affection going on there, Since there's affection, so this is the reason why you're not allowed to do it, because it may lead to something even bigger, if you do this kind of thing. This is the reason why we don't allow when there's affection going on. So, therefore, right, it says in Moshe Feinstein, but when you go to a doctor, and this doctor is not your husband, just some stranger, that's taking care of your body, whatever it is, right? So there, it's not derech chibah, it's not affection. It's just, the guy's doing his job, basically. You know what I mean? So therefore, the Moshe Feinstein says, even according to the Rambam, cases like this are okay, especially when you go on the subway, same thing. He says, right, that that's not a problem. Why? Because it's not derech chibah. What, you need to have affection with these people? You don't even know who they are. You don't know anything about them, right? So there's no affection going on there. So since it's not derech chibah, so says the Moshe Feinstein that it's mutar.
I say.
And by the way, you agree?
It's COVID.
You give a second motion.
COVID.
Okay, God bless. COVID. Okay.
I'm joking.
All right, COVID is finished already. Okay, whatever. Shem Yachem. Shomer Petayim Hashem. You know what it says, right? So therefore, according to this, Moshe Feinstein says that where it's not derech chibah, it's not the way of affection. It's just something, that physical exam. This is not affection. So therefore, he says even according to the Rambam, it's mutar, because the Rambam only forbade when it's derech of affection. Where derech chibah. This is the way he forbade that. Okay, interesting. So now, right, coming to another thing, right, which is very similar to this, which is what about I go to the store, right, or I go to a business meeting, or I go to the court, right, there's lawyers there, judges, shaking hands with women, business place, right? So the question is, are you allowed to shake their hands? According to what we said, are you allowed to shake the hands of the women over there?
Yes.
That's an interesting question, right?
Business deal.
So the question is like this, are you allowed to do that? So the truth is, I must tell you that, I'll give you a story, by the way, about this. That Maran, Rabbi, when he was a younger man, in the good old days, when we were in diapers and he was the chief rabbi at that time, right? 50 years ago. What happened was that one time, they gave him something called in Israel a Pras Israel. You know what that is, Pras Israel?
Nobel Prize.
It's like a prize, right, for literature. Why? Because he wrote some very big books, very important books. So Maran, they summoned him to the Knesset to give him Pras Nobel, right, Pras literature, right, something like this, Pras Israel, whatever it's called, over there, right? They gave him an award for the books that he wrote. So what happened was that he came to the Knesset, to get the award. By the way, is it allowed to go into the Knesset? Yeah, he went to the Knesset. He's not Satmar, the rabbi. He wasn't Satmar, right? So he went in there, don't worry. No problem. Right, so he went in, and so who was the Rosh Hashanah at that time? Right?
Ben-Gurion?
No, with all his luck, right? Who was it? Golda Meir, So she's a woman. You understand? So at that time, Rosh Hashanah was Golda Meir. You understand? So what happens when the people come to get the prize? They come to Golda. You understand? They come to Golda, and Golda gives them the prize. And also shakes their hand. Oh, nice. Okay. Now you got a chance. You got a chance now to shake the hands of the Prime Minister, right? Golda, Mrs. Golda, right? So what did Maran do? What do you think? He went and shook her hand? What do you say? He didn't. Okay, you have the video? Oh, you heard about it? Okay, good. Okay. I also don't have the video. I don't have the video. So anyway, right, as the story goes, Maran, he went over there, right, and Golda, stuck out her hand like this to shake the hands of Maran. And Maran said, no, I'm sorry, Mechila, I'm sorry, I can't shake your hand. So this is the way he did, Also the Chazon Ish says the same thing, by the way, Paskins, the Chazon Ish. That you are not allowed to shake hands with a woman, even like in a business meeting or something, something like this, some kind of setting like that. But according to what we said, Moshe Feinstein, he said, if it's not derech chibah, it's not the way of affection, so then it's okay, no? So then how come, what's going on? Machloket? Maybe it's machloket between them? The truth is, it's not really machloket, So it's really one shita, it's one idea. You know what the idea is? The idea is like this, that when you shake somebody's hand, you know, it is derech chiba. It's affection, you know? In other words, you're becoming friendly with them. Understand? This is the whole thing. Not the same thing with a doctor. You know, when the doctor examines you, you know, he's not becoming your friend with that. I hope he's not becoming your friend. You know, it's not ethical, right? I hope he's not, you know, what do you say, huh?
I have a question. Can a person shake a non-Jewish hand? Or what? Do it after? Or
You
what?
can shake the hand of a goy, yes, no problem. You can shake the hand of a goy. Just be careful, don't do it with Trump, because, you know, he likes to press hard, you know, he can pull you, you know, like this. Be careful. Okay, so, right, you can shake hands with a goy, no problem. But, right, the thing was that the truth is, you know, that when it comes to shaking hands, it's derech chibah. It's like friendship, you know, you're making a friendship with the person. So therefore, this is the reason why it's not allowed. But Moshe Feinstein was talking about something else. He was talking about that the doctor is examining you, you know, or, you know, you're in the subway and, you know, like crammed up in there with all these bodies together, you know, in one place. That's already something else. So these are not the same thing, you know. So this is the reason why, in a case like this, it's mutar. In a case like this, it's not mutar. So this, by the way, teaches you, you know, I hate to say it, but I remember, you know, one time there was some Georgian, you know, group that came here, you know, from Georgia, you know. Gogiev, you know, they are friends from Georgia, you know, Christians, you know. So they came over here, there was some kind of a meeting, they had some kind of a, whatever. So what happened was that one of the people in our keilah, you know, he went and he kissed one of the Georgian girls, you know, kissed her. Boop! I was like, excuse me, you know, like, what makes you think you can kiss a goya, you know, or even if she's Jewish, you know? This is not allowed to do such a thing like that. You're laughing. Yeah? You're not allowed to do that. What makes you think you can kiss a goya, you know, like, goya? Okay, what, she's Georgian because, what, that makes her our family? What, mishpacha? It's your daughter? What's going on, you know? How can you kiss her, you know? So when it comes to that, you know, you have to be careful. Don't touch, you know, especially, as we said, a goya, you know? It's not allowed, or even a Jewish girl, same thing, you know? So this is the reason why. Now, regarding this, right, also there's another thing which also pertains to this, which is that the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch, they bring down something very important, which comes from the Gemara. Not only, right, as we said, you're not allowed to touch ereva, you know, to come close and touch the ereva, a woman who's forbidden to you, but also, there's also prohibition, you know, to be with them together, like, you know, in a group setting, you know. So therefore, the Rambam says, Shulchan Aruch also brings it down, the laws of Yom Tov. Over there he says, you know, what happens like this. Can you imagine? This is what's going on in the old days. You know, not what we have today, unfortunately, you know. Things have changed a lot. It says in Rambam that it's a mitzvah for the leaders of the community, you know, Gam Gilba, you know, the leaders, you know, the rabbis, whatever, right? You know what mitzvah they have? On Yom Tov, they should go around, you know, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuot. Go around and see if there's any parties that they're having people, you know, men and women together, and send over there, you know, officers, you know, police officers, you know, shotrim, you know, policia, you know, and break it up. Can you imagine? So the Rambam says you have to break up those parties. The girls are boys and girls together in one room, having a party together, drinking together, having some seudah together. It's not allowed to do it this way. You know. So what's the reason why? This also brings you, you know, to all kinds of sins, lo aleinu. You know. So therefore, right, there's a mitzvah to break up these kinds of things. So you see from there, by the way, there's also Gemara that talks about this in Masechet Sukkah. You know, so it says that when it comes to two events. In the Bet HaMikdash, you know, there was dancing going on Sukkot, you know? Simchat Bet HaShu'ava, you know, right? What that is, right? So what happened was that because there was a party, there was music going on and dancing, so men and women were separate. You know what I mean? So what happened? The women were in the Ezrat Nashim upstairs, and the men were downstairs. No contact between them. You understand? So also, another thing which it brings down there, another source for this, which is that there was also something brought down in the prophets, you know, which says like this, that, Yasha, you're in front of the camera. In front of the camera. Oh, okay. God bless you. God bless you. Welcome, Yasha. Welcome. God bless you. Okay, so, how are you? Good? Okay, so, God bless you. So, as we said, right, that there's also something brought down in the prophets. It says during the war of Gog and Magog, there's going to be a big funeral, you know, that they're going to make. From Mashiach ben Yosef, some say the funeral is for the Yetzer Hara. Whatever it is, right, there's two different opinions over there. You know what I'm talking about? So, over there it says, you know, that also there, the men and the women will be separate during this funeral, you know? So the Gemara says, you see, even in a funeral, the men and the women have to be separate. So why is this a big thing? Why is this a big chidush? You know why? Because in the funeral, there's no yetzer hara. No, because everybody's sad, about the death of the person. Somebody passed away, we got the gadai tzvara. So people are worried about that. There's no yetzer hara, but still, even though in a funeral there's no yetzer hara, say the sages, say the Chazal, say the Gemara, that they have to be separate, the men and women,
right,
even though there's no yetzer hara. Because sometimes the yetzer hara can even come in a place like that.
What
So therefore
about
we have to be
wedding?
careful.
What about wedding? Wedding 17.
All the more so. Even uprometi. Of course. What do you? Yasha, smart guy, right? Smart guy. So that's you're right. Of course. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Understand? Especially in a wedding, they have to be also separate, the men and women. So this is why today the minhag is, at weddings and bar mitzvah, everything, the men and women have to be separate. This is halakha. This is not just some kind of a Hasidic, custom. Hasidim. No, this is
What
halakha.
about birthday? What about
Same
birthday?
thing, doesn't matter what kind of party it is. The men and women have to be separate, and the reason why we put them separate, just like the halakha says, as we said, and not only that, but they also, at a place where they're dancing, they have to have also mechitza. So, I'll end with this, I don't want to keep you too long. So they have to have a mechitza, Why do you need a mechitza at these functions? What's the reason why? Because since the men and women are dancing, we don't want to be watching the women, dancing, you understand? This is not allowed to watch them. This is the problem, So this is the reason why there should be a mechitza if there's dancing going on. If there's no dancing, you don't need a mechitza. You can do without a mechitza, no problem. But if there's dancing going on, you don't want to be watching the women. So I'll tell you something funny, that there's a story somebody told me. One time, the big Rosh Yeshiva, Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul, Kwat Yosef, right? So he went to a wedding, he went to a chatuna, like you said, Yasha, So he went to a wedding, and, over there, they saw that there was a mechitza between the men and the women, So one of the young boys came to Chacham Ben Zion and told him, he says, you see, we have mechitza, everything's black kosher over here, No problems. Mechitza, no sitting together, no dancing together, everything is kosher. So you know what Chacham Ben Zion told him? He said, he says, in my days, when I was young, he says, we didn't have mechitza, but we were more kosher than you. We were more tzanua than you are. You know what he meant to say? In other words, he was trying to tell you something very important thing about the halakha. The reason why we need mechitza today, and in the old days they didn't have mechitza at those parties. You know why? Because today the way they dance is not tzanua. You understand? They dance like very crazy. Too much boogie woogie going on. So it's a little bit too much. So because it's too much, and also they're not dressed properly, the women. They're not dressed tzanua, modestly. This is the reason why you need a mechitza. But Chacham Ben Zion told them, he says, in our times, we didn't need a mechitza. Why? Because the women were dancing very tzanua, very slow, nothing, no crazy stuff. No crazy, and also everybody was dressed tzanua. So therefore there was no need for a mechitza, you understand? So this is the reason why today we need a mechitza, because the situation is not tzanua. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. ויהי בחנניה וכשומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעשות לישראל, ולפיכך תרבה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר.